Welcome, my beautiful souls, and welcome, my gorgeous Scorpios. This is your reading for November 2025. But I want to say happy birthday to those also celebrating in October. My daughter being one, October 29th, and my brother is November 6th. Um, yeah. Um, I was trying to think, is there anybody else? But no. So, anyways, happy birthday, happy birthday. But this is going to be for Scorpio, sun, moon, or rising. You could certainly have a combination. Um, Really, I feel like these readings are more and more for those who are intuitively guided. Because I want you to remember that, we all have a little Scorpio in us. So if you find yourself here, your spirit guides are probably directing you here or nudging you here, which I read through as our spirit guides. So I'm excited about getting into your reading, Scorpio. I have a feeling that you've gone through some changes. Um, but I feel like, I don't know, I have a really good feeling about this reading. So I like that when I go in feeling that way. Um, and everything is pre-shuffled, just so you know. I should tell you what I'm going to use. So we'll open the reading with Mother Mary. We're going to use the crystal vision to clarify and go deeper. This is why the readings are longer, because we go deep here. Like I want to cover all the bases for you. Not just like I'm sure love is going to come up. I don't know when I've ever done a reading for you where love didn't come up. And you love love. Um, but you love good love. But also money, this is a life reading is how I look at it. So anyways, anyone who's intuitively guided, thank you for paying attention to your intuition. You could certainly be in love with the Scorpio, but also keep that in mind that your guides know you're here. Again, they may have nudged you. And how do you know? Well, some may have looked at the time and been like, well, that's a long reading, and scrolled past it, but something brought you back. That's your spirit guides. So, what else I want to say before we begin your reading is feel comfortable, really in any reading you watch, but especially here at this table, to ask your guides to give you signs of confirmation. You should feel this reading. This is a soul to soul, because you're all my soulmate family, whether you know that yet or not. But yeah, I mean, that's just how it works. That's what my guides tell me. Like we're all soul connected. So if you find yourself here, welcome back to the family. And then for the main spread, we're going to use the Tarot of Dreams, which is not a normal deck that I choose for you, but it is a deck that called out. And of course, we'll use our major arcanas for their special message. So let's go ahead and open up this reading so it's not ridiculously long. Gonna bring the lid down. There we go. And let's start with Mother Mary. So Mother Mary for my beautiful Scorpios and those intuitively guided. I also want you to keep in mind, although I do put a date on the monthlies, I still feel like they're timeless. And what I mean by that is I feel that a reading will find you just when you need it. And that may be months from now. It could be a year from now. I always feel like if you go into like like I have playlist, you go into playlist and I actually have a playlist for Scorpio for each sign. They have their own playlist. Um, and then there's special readings. But anyways, my point is you may find something that just pulls you in. Trust that. That is your intuition. That is your higher self. Mother, mother, like the Empress. I open my heart to my mother's humanness and her divinity. Mother. Some of you that could certainly speak of mothers who are guiding you. And I get this sense, like all of a sudden, that I may not have been perfect here, in life, but now this is someone who definitely has seen their ways, which I feel like we all will eventually, go through that life review. But I'm definitely feeling the energy of a mother's guidance. Mother's guidance. And some may say, well, that's because your daughter is a Scorpio. But I want you to know I don't read, like when I read, I'm just reading. I'm just reading what divine puts before me. So it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like what to me, like what someone's sign is. This is just what spirit wants to tell us right now. All right, let's bring in the major arcanas. I keep sliding these over. By the way, I am running a contest for October for anyone who purchases a personal reading in the month of October. You'll automatically be added into a contest where I'm going to pull someone's name. Last month it was Ed. He did give me permission to use his name. So this month we'll see. But so I'll put all the names in a bowl and pull a name, and that person will win a future reading. And when I say future, what I mean by that, there's really no expiration date. But it does have to be scheduled. You know what I mean? Like just whenever you're ready for it, reach out so I can put you in the schedule, and it will be at no cost. So, okay, I think I cut them. Interesting. We have the hangman. So the hangman is in, a state of pause for the moment. The hangman is seeking spiritual wisdom, but to use on this earthly plane. You know, Many times it's us who put ourselves in this position, let's say. But at the same time, this is someone who's seeking spiritual wisdom. It could be a decision, should I or shouldn't I? And I say that because look what's next, the Fool. And that is about a new beginning. Dreamy. This is leaving the past in the past, which is where it belongs, right? You've extracted the wisdom. This is what the Fool learns from the Magician. And by the way, that's what we're moving into, the year of the Magician in 2026. So it's kind of like it's moving you there sooner versus later. But you may want to ask yourself that, have I cleared the past? For some reason this morning I was thinking about regret. And I was thinking to myself, it's senseless to have regret because there's nothing we can do about that. And that came through a conversation that my daughter and I had where, I was telling her, like, oh boy, I wish I would have done this when you were young. And then I realized, like, having regret does nothing. I think more it's about forgiving of oneself. Anyway, okay, let's see what else wants to come out. see where the Fool is heading. This means that a new path is opening up for you. And, I feel like this is you seeking the wisdom on that. Should I or shouldn't I? For the Fool would tell you to take that leap of faith. I would say, do you feel ready? Though, as I say that, sometimes feeling ready is not the ticket. Sometimes you just have to do it. All right. We have Judgment. So this is your spiritual team, and they come with a message. They're calling you to the present moment, and they are looking right at the Fool. I don't know why I put this so far up. Looking right at the Fool. So, this is the Fool hearing that trumpet call. This is about a rebirth. But the Hangman, again, seeking this wisdom, I feel like who's ever in this Hangman pose is like, I want this rebirth, but I want it to be the best it can be. And I feel like that's where the Fool comes in, right? Letting the past be the past, extracting the wisdom of, but then the willingness to step upon this next path. Keep in mind that life runs in 9-year cycles. And, one day I won't have to say this anymore, but we are in that final 9th year of a 9-year chapter. So this is truly the year to reflect upon how you want your next 9 years to look. And I'm very serious about that. How do you want those next 9 years to look? It is the seeds that you're planting right now that's going to determine that. So I love that you have Judgment, your spiritual team, calling to the Fool. And there is the Fool, ready to take that leap of faith. This Fool has found the spiritual wisdom that the Fool was seeking. Look at this, your major arcana. And look at this, the Magician. Number one, the Fool's greatest mentor. Because the Magician is the first archetype, let's say, that the Fool meets along this new path. And the Magician's job really is to teach the Fool that you possess all the tools you need to truly be successful. The tools are all out on the table. This is about manifesting and knowing that you have that ability to manifest. It's interesting, your major arcana. I love that it showed. I always love when someone's major arcana shows in a reading. But this can also talk about, are there any doors that may need closing? Something may have come to completion, and am I allowing it? I feel like there is nothing to fear here. Really, quite the opposite. Like, this feels like a time to get excited. But to get excited, I feel like I need to be in the Fool's energy. Hmm. There may just be one thing that some of you have in your mind, like one door that you may have had a hard time closing. Like resistance every time I try to close it. And now it may close with ease. Interesting. All right, let's slide these up. And the main spread will definitely let us know why they're here beyond what we've already picked up. But boy, do I love the Magician also connected to your major arcana. Like, who has the power to manifest? You have the power to manifest. When? Now. How? Plant those seeds. Know that you have those tools. Allow these rebirths. That's just part of life. And these rebirths can be a very good thing. This feels very powerful, I have to say. Like, what are you doing? I feel like my Scorpios have found courage. I feel like this sense of I'm ready. Even some of you, I feel like there's like excitement for these changes that may be happening. For the areas where it's asking you to take a leap of faith, but it's on yourself. You know, what's going to make your life better. It's okay to be a little selfish sometimes, and think about you and what do I want and how do I want my life to look and who's not playing along, whose morals are outdated, not matching mine. And it can mean like I do feel like there was maybe it's not everyone a little resistance to like closing this a final door. Kind of like out with the old, in with the new. All right, let's bring in the Tarot Dreams and let's go deeper. Six of Cups, nostalgia. This is about happy memories. Can talk about someone that you know, like from back in the past. But this would be someone that when you think of them, you would think happy thoughts. And then, hello, Nine of Cups. I'll take that for you all day long. This is inner harmony. And then fulfillment of wishes. So notice how I said that. Inner harmony feels first and foremost, and then fulfillment of wishes. That tells me that you must be planting some seeds. I am happy to see the Nine of Cups here for you because I don't know if struggling is the right word, but I feel like you've been through it. You've been through it. And now, again, it's like not to be selfish, but like you have every right to be happy, to be joyful, to find this inner harmony, and it's within you. And then the fulfillment of wishes. There's a lot of cups right here. There's a lot of cups. But even with all these cups, you're in a state of balance. And I like that. Let's just put it this way. The Fool is connected to the Nine of Cups. So that is where the Fool is heading. And I feel like the inner harmony is probably first. And then the fulfillment of wishes. We have the Seven of Cups, so Holy Cups. This is you making a decision over a cup. Seven of Cups can talk about, making an emotional decision, potentially in chaotic energy. Seven of Cups can talk about chaos, but it's still an offer of a cup. It may come on a chaotic day because I'm not feeling that you feel like chaotic within. Because again, you're finding this inner harmony first and foremost. And I love that Judgment is even introducing the Seven of Cups. Judgment, our spiritual team, knows that we have free will. So they can present it, But then our free will is going to make that decision of do we accept it or not. Interesting, you have the Six of Cups that moves into the Seven of Cups. And what's in between it? The Nine of Cups. We have the Ace of Cups, another cup, but the major cup. And then we have the Five of Wands. Okay, so interesting. The only card that's not of cups. Five always speaks of change, whether it's internal, external, but this is normally other people. This is a drama-filled type of energy. It can be a lot of ego, can be fighting, can also be friendly competition. That's one of the meanings, but I've never seen an image where it seems friendly. It always seems too much. Too much. So this may be that final door that I was talking about, because it's the only thing that doesn't fit. And I think you can just simply ask yourself, you know, have you been hanging with people who carry a lot of drama and therefore are creating drama in your life? Sometimes we can't get away from it, but we can center ourselves and find that inner harmony within. But it does feel like a change. Some of you might be uttering the words, like, I have found my inner harmony and I'm not letting anyone come in and, like, if you bring in drama into my life, keep on going. Wrong house, wrong door. This is the house of love. You take that Ace of Cups, add it to the Nine of Cups, well, there's our Ten of Cups. It's interesting because I know a lot of people don't like me talking about like old people coming back, but that is what the Six of Cups can represent. And it is my life. But I just get this sense because the Five of Wands is mirroring the Six of Cups, and they're two totally different types of energy. Again, one is ego, my way or the highway type of thing. Someone who just doesn't want to back down, or people who don't want to back down. But I still have the power not to, let's say, lower my vibration to be part of that drama. I'm going to separate myself from it. And therefore, I feel like that's what's giving you inner harmony. Ace of Cups is connected directly to your major arcana. I mean, if we had any questions, is it for you? There you go. The Seven of Cups, where judgment is like, I'm going to present you this cup, but it will be up to you. Well, the Ace of Cups being right next to it, representing, to me, unconditional love. Sometimes it can speak of past lives. But it's speaking of love. All right, well, let's keep going. And it doesn't always have to mean, though I think it does include, but it doesn't always have to mean only love. It could be a love for what you do now. Something you're doing different and you're loving it. This is you really loving life again. And what took you there? I feel like the Hangman and the Five of Wands. Oh my God. Well, hello, soulmates. I mean, under the Six of Cups. It's funny because that hangman seeking wisdom may be wondering if someone is a soulmate. Scorpio, I don't know if I've seen so many cups in a row, but it would make sense that if it's going to happen, it happen in your readings. You know, what I love about Scorpio is you're comfortable with anyone. You are not judgmental. You know what I mean? Like you would treat, let's say, a judge the same way you would treat a homeless person. You don't look at people like that. You know what I mean? Like you don't look at them and judge them. I'm not saying you're perfect because, there could be times, but that's really just one of your gifts. And it's a beautiful gift. Eight of Wands. What I think about, I bring about. That, my friends, is the law of attraction. What I think about, I bring about. This is fast moving energy. And, some of you, you're just falling in love. You're falling in love, or you have fallen in love. Interesting. Some of you may be like a single mother or a single parent. But look at the Eight of Wands mirroring the Fool. The Fool, right? Free and clear. Ready to take a leap of faith on something new. The Eight of Wands, what I think about, I bring about. That is powerful. And then what you're bringing about, first and foremost, is inner harmony. But I feel like, and then don't stop planting seeds, like, because the universe is listening to you. Also connected to the soulmates. Okay. We have the King of Pentacles, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. Doesn't have to be though. Mirroring judgment. So this can't be a bad thing because I don't feel like your spiritual team would usher in someone who would not be good for you. Especially if you're willing to, be the fool. But know that the magician is right there. It's right there, right next to your major arcana. So the King of Pentacles to me, when he shows in a reading, in the upright, is someone I feel is loyal. And I do feel like that's important. Especially if you're going to give someone your heart, right? Because I feel like you have no interest in going backwards. You know what I mean? Like, I have no interest in teaching someone how to be a good lover. And I don't mean that sexually. I mean that, in how to love another. I do feel like this represents the stability of someone. And when I see the king, I also think that this is someone who probably is pretty good with their money. Okay. Well, hello, king. And I really want to say it can be any sign, but think about like, the energy of the King of Pentacles. This is also someone when they look at the big picture or when they look at a situation, they look at the big picture. where the Queen of Pentacles is the one who breaks it down. We have the Nine of Wands under the Ace of Cups. Interesting. This is reflection. This is looking back, but without judgment. This is looking back and understanding how much you have grown over the last 9 years. And you're just beginning. You know, everyone behind you in this 9 is something you've accomplished, something you've overcome. And that's really what it wants you to look at. It wants you to understand how strong you are now. You're not the person you used to be, nor are you meant to be. And, you know, coming into the Nine of Cups, and this person is looking right at this king. You know, I feel like saying, I know what I want as it relates to love. I know what I want it to feel like, be like. I do feel like, you know, we have to learn to let some control go. Because let's face it, hopefully everyone is not like our past. Because this is the things that you've learned. Like you have been learning about love. And no wonder the Two of Cups is out. And when I say learning, maybe I should change that around. You have reflected over it. You know, it's like you know what you deserve. You know that now. I love the 2 nines. Again, we are in that final 9th year chapter. This is probably why you have inner harmony. Because you're congratulating yourself. You know, that may be even why I talked about regret. Like, don't regret what you've been through. What has it taught you? Okay. Try to get one more out. Then we'll bring out the crystal vision and go deeper. All right, we have the Hierophant. Interesting, we have 2 5s connected. So it makes sense. Here it's called Faith. It's my granddaughter's name. But here, especially under the 5 of Wands, the Hierophant wants you to question a few things. Let's say we're talking about love, because in a way, that's what we're talking about. Then I want to look at that 5 of Wands. And what I want to ask myself is the people that I've been, let's say, fighting with, who've been causing drama in my life, are their morals and my morals aligned? Or are we just so different? You know, I feel like many of you, like you want to live a spiritual life. And living a spiritual life means that you have the realization of, you know, what can go and what can stay. The Magician is a very powerful energy that reminds you that you are the co-creator of your life. So seeing the Hierophant, it makes sense to me because it's questioning this 5 of Wands. And I have a feeling what I'm finding out in this energy is, you know, and this can be old energy also. But, you know, maybe I've taken a lot of bullshit, taken other people's bullshit. But I don't feel like you're doing that anymore. All right, we have one more that came out with that. Interesting, with the Page of Cups. Came in reverse. that is your inner self. That's really about loving yourself, being proud of who you are. I feel like, where do we take the brunt of the hurt in our lives? Our inner child. And interesting, all of a sudden I'm thinking, but mom is here. But mom is here, right? Who could love you more? Now it's just about loving yourself. And I'm not saying that again in an egotistical way. I deserve to live a good life, especially if I'm putting a lot of energy into making my life better. Well, then why would I accept those who, again, are filled with drama? I don't feel like you are. I feel like that is the door. That is that last door. All right. We have the Two of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck, so a little bit of a question. Knight of Wands underneath that. Some of you might be feeling like some passionate energy. It's kind of hidden, so you may not know why or where it's coming from, but you're feeling it nonetheless. And if you're in the Nine of Cups energy, I feel like you're able to like truly feel, let's say, spiritual energy. Again, that Knight of Cups, we can't see it, but we probably feel it. And the Two of Pentacles, you're questioning, should I or shouldn't I? They call the Two of Pentacles the juggler's card. It's like having a lot of balls up in the air. And can I handle another one? I feel like it's more about using your logical mind. And it makes sense that we'd have a question on the bottom of the deck with the Hangman opening up the reading. So, there is a question being posed to you. There is energy that you're probably feeling that you may know means change. But I feel like you're ready. All right, let's bring in the crystal vision. I love that the Hierophant is mirroring the Two of Cups. Um, because I do feel like it is that important. You know, Whatever is being introduced to you, whether it be love, whether it be opportunity, I feel like you deserve it. And I get the sense like, don't let anybody take it from you. Like, claim it as your own, because you've done the work that brought you to this place. Some of you, I can't help but think you're falling in love. And I love that the Nine of Wands is underneath that Ace of Cups. Because again, it's like, if I'm falling in love again, well, now I know how love should look, how love should feel. But also, you gotta have, in a way, you gotta let go of like controlling it and let it flow. But do you deserve it? Absolutely. All right. Did I cut these? I don't know if I did, so I'm going to do them again just in case. I don't feel like I did. All right, so let's start at the beginning, but we are reading it as a whole. Let's get everything in order. So, who is in this Six of Cups? Eight of Swords. Self-created prison. Self-created. There's only one person who can free you from this self-created prison, and that's you. This is really when we're not trusting our intuition. And I get it. We've all done this. This is where, for some of us, we may have just taken some time out. But, hmm, makes me feel like the hangman is a little afraid to move forward. Interesting. The Nine of Pentacles over the Nine of Cups. Wow. I mean, inner harmony. But now you have, well, the Nine of Pentacles is number one, independence. It's independence, baby. It's where you can take care of you. And for some of you, I feel like, again, this Ace of Cups is not just talking about love, like romantic love. It's also talking about a love of what you do. And it doesn't mean like every single day I jump out of bed and I'm excited, but there's something changing. This is you, definitely being able to take care of yourself financially. So this is a good thing because I feel like, if I'm interested in love, it's not because I want someone to come in and take care of me. I can do that on my own. This tells you to keep doing what you're doing, right? You are planting seeds and they are coming to fruition. This is about material harvest, seeing the fruits of your labor. And some of you may just be maybe beginning something new, but again, the abundance attached to it is great. And the joy. It's interesting. I just wrote a comment to someone under one of the videos, and I said, with people like you here, my work is now my joy. Like, it brings me joy to do these readings for you all. All right. Hello, Ace of Swords. What's growing up that ace, that sword? Red roses. That is a sign of love. This is also my yes card. And hello, connected to your spiritual team. It's funny because I feel like they're answering a question. Like, is it safe for me? Let's put it that way. Is it safe for me to accept a cup that's coming in? Well, again, this being my yes card. And I feel like as long as you're in the Fool's energy, then I feel like everything should be more than okay. All right. The Eight of Pentacles over the Ace of Cups. That's why I kept feeling back and forth, like romantic love, but also a love of what I do. Romantic love, but also a love of what I do. Eight of Pentacles. It can be starting something new. Eight of Pentacles' message is don't be afraid to go into something as the apprentice, but know that if you focus on it, you will be the master teacher. And here we have the master teacher. Loving what you do is like, what's that saying? Like not working a day in your life, something like that. But I have to tell you, this also can answer the question over love, because we have that question. Do I accept this cup? Do I not? How do I know it'll be successful? Eight of Pentacles says whatever you focus on is what you will grow. And you can focus on more than one thing. Three of Cups. Joy. Celebration. Well, coming over the Five of Wands, what am I celebrating? The only thing I can think of would be the no longer accepting of that drama, the separation between you and them. You could have someone who, I don't know why I'm picking this up, maybe because the Eight of Swords and then the Five of Wands, but there could be someone who, like they drink, and then when they drink, they talk. And when they talk, they may become drama filled. I don't want to take the joy away from that card, but I do feel a little bit of that. Like, because it's cups, it just makes me feel like drinking. Like when I drink, I become drama filled. Or when they drink, they become drama filled. But here's the thing, I feel like what's really happening is someone has been robbing you of your joy. But this Eight of Swords, it is you who has to set yourself free. But baby, when you set yourself free, look at everything that opens up. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so now we're going to be looking at that Two of Cups, soulmates. Well, there you are. Queen of Cups. Interesting because the Page of Cups is mirroring the Queen. Page in reverse. The Queen in the upright. So I feel like this is about the healing of the inner child. And I want to point back to mom again, because I feel for some of you like a mom, and I know like my daughter is also Scorpio, so, but that's not why I'm saying that. I am feeling that there are definitely some moms that are helping, helping to direct, let's say. But I do feel the difference of when I wasn't feeling so great about myself, when I was accepting this bullshit, let's say, and today, now you're the queen. So I feel like these changes that the end of this reading, these two fives are asking for, I feel like that's exactly what you do. That must mean that you do set yourself free. Or it could be someone else. It's interesting. All of a sudden, I feel like maybe it's someone else in that Eight of Swords. Maybe it's their fear. We might come back and look at that. But let's keep moving forward right now. All right, let's look at the Eight of Wands. I mean, we're reading it as a whole. That Eight of Wands, what I think about, I bring about, and fast moving energy. It's like, I feel like that's how quick you can manifest. But you got to know that. Know that. Like, put those affirmations out there and watch them come back. But understand that they may come back differently than asked, but they'll come back better. Right? Exactly what you need. Huh. Well, hello, Mother. The Empress. Now, I have to say, I feel like this is you. This is a growth you've had in your own life. You know, the Empress, loving and nurturing, creative. This is someone who probably receives epiphanies daily. And the Empress knows the right time to bring something about at the same time. Some of you could be a new mom. I mean, you know, how beautiful the Empress just came out. Over that Eight of Wands, if there's anyone who's going to take signs from the universe and use them to her benefit, it's the Empress. I feel like you have had such tremendous growth. Let's just say in the last 9 years, it's kind of blown my mind because I can feel it. It feels like night and day. So the last 9 years may have been difficult, but I have a feeling the next 9 years, I have a feeling are going to be beautiful. Look at that, the king over the king. This could be someone who's double earth in their chart. This king has the ace of swords above him now. So I feel like if this is a conversation, it's a truthful conversation. You know, if someone's offering your cup, I could see you wanting to have a conversation like, well, let's talk about this. So the Ace of Swords to me is a great representation of truth. And I don't know. I mean, both kings are mirroring judgment, your spiritual team. And you know, what is judgment telling the fool? I'm sending you signs. I'm going to help guide you. Trust your intuition. And if it feels right, then go for it. If it doesn't feel right, as long as it's not because of the Eight of Swords, you know, like if there's a red flag, which by the way, I don't see any red flags. I feel like the red flags were of yesteryear. The Hermit just flipped itself around. Card of Virgo. Hmm. Well, the Hermit and that Eight of Swords, I feel like go together. I don't feel like you're in the Eight of Swords now. I do feel like it's someone else. And I feel that they wish that they could have the confidence that you have. And it may be relating to love. And I feel like what they need to look at is their own spirituality. You know, not being afraid to take a chance, especially if it's with you. Because I don't see you giving your heart away easily. Let's just say I feel like this king is in a state of reflection, is seeking the light. And I want to see what comes next to it. Six of Wands, victory and success. Beautiful. I get the sense that someone wonders, do they deserve you? You know, the Six of Wands has you in this state of victory and really seeing success, probably very quickly. Especially if you take these ideas and you put them into action, they're going to produce for you. They're going to produce fruit for you. And in the Six of Wands, many times it's other people looking up to you because of action steps that you've taken. But I feel like someone wonders if they measure up. Interesting. All right, that makes me want to go below now. Let's go below the reading. Slide everything up a bit. The Page of Swords in reverse with the Two of Pentacles in reverse. So someone's made a decision, right? We started with the Two of Pentacles. Well, we started with the Hangman, but now we know that the Hangman is literally wants a question answered, wants to know if this is the best course to take. So I feel like you're receiving that wisdom. I have a feeling whoever is in the Eight of Swords has a hard time speaking about it. Almost like it feels like a weakness to them, like a weakness within themselves. Now, it's probably something they wouldn't say, but I do feel that, can I be, and the thing is, look how beautiful the love is on the table. Look how it's being directed in your life through your spiritual team, right? And you willing to take that leap, knowing that the magician has your back. And what I mean by that is knowing that you can manifest whatever it is you want to manifest. Again, kind of let go of control, like what comes back, because sometimes it's different than what we asked, but it will always be better. So the Empress is receiving her answer. If she's the one who even had the question, like now I'm wondering, was it even you? All right, well, let's keep going. Hmm. Ten of Swords under the King. The Kings. You know, this is difficult energy. This is energy of taking dagger after dagger in the back. And I get the sense that this king has not cleared this energy. And this has become part of their fear. Right? I don't want to repeat. I don't want more swords in my back. I don't feel like that you have any intentions of doing that. But this is something they have to figure out on their own. This person has probably been in a repeat pattern with probably lower vibrational energy, like picking the wrong people. It is definitely this king who has created this Eight of Swords. Like, I feel that now. I felt it earlier, but now I really know it. Look at this. If I can pick it up. The Emperor. Hello, my power couple. This person doesn't realize how much love and power they carry within themselves. And I'm saying that because it is coming over the Nine of Wands, so they have to do the same reflection that you've done. But the Hermit being in reverse, are they resisting that energy and why? Well, I know why. They're afraid of a repeat pattern. But here's my power couple. And look at this with the soulmates right there. It's also letting us know, yes, you could have been also, in your past taking dagger after dagger in your back. But I have a feeling you've cleared that. I feel like this is more, well, let's just say the other soulmate. And I feel like the answer for them is to trust within their what they're receiving spiritually. The hermit in reverse is kind of like going through the dark night of the soul. But in that energy, all you have to do is seek the light. If you seek the light, it shall find you. Okay? So this Ace of Cups just became a whole lot more powerful. That didn't sound right. It's funny how the Page of Cups and Page of Swords are both in reverse. The Chariot. Interesting, because I just released the information or what the Chariot means in a reading. First of all, it is a card of Cancer. But this speaks about the unlimited potential. And I'm telling you, with the Emperor and the Empress here, my power couple, connected to the soulmates, with the Ace of Cups, like, the potential is truly unlimited. This is not trying to talk this Emperor into understanding that. This Emperor has to come to this on his own. But he has the ability to. And I just get the feeling like this person probably doesn't easily talk about like their true feelings. I'm not saying they don't ever talk about it, but I feel like it's not something that comes easy to me. Where you, I feel like you could just let it all out. The Chariot is the balance of the feminine and the masculine, of the light and the shadow. And it's learning to balance it all. And with balance, you can soar. This can soar. Let me just say one thing. Whether this king realizes the two of you are soulmates or not, I do not want to take away from the growth that you have had. If they don't realize it, then shame on them. Like, they don't know what they're going to miss. But I feel like when they realize that you truly are a power couple or you have that ability, I even love like the Emperor connected to the Eight of Pentacles, and then you're connected to the Nine of Pentacles. Because I feel like they could be great together in work, in collaborating, but definitely in love. But we both have to reach that status. And I know you have. And it didn't come overnight. Matter of fact, it probably took the last 9 years. But here we are. Okay. Let's go up and look at that Eight of Swords. Let's see what happens with that. Page of Pentacles. Well, when I see the Page of Pentacles, I feel like it talks about like we've been on this learning path. It's a path of knowledge. This is really quite a laid back type of energy. It can talk about book smarts, but I feel like it really speaks about your spiritual growth, but also using it in every aspect of your life. I feel like someone has to learn, or the lesson that they need. Well, I always say this because they don't have to do anything. But if they're interested, or if they do want to uncreate that prison for themselves, then they can look at this. And that might be why we're seeing the King of Pentacles twice, right? Because I look at it from the big picture. And I could see that, okay, am I judging my future love by my past loves, where you're nothing like them? I feel it. You're nothing like them. And I feel like there's no way in hell you're going to put daggers in their back. But they have to believe that. I want to look at the Hermit reverse. Because something tells me, I was going to say, this person will find the light. And listen, you may be part of that. I just realized that. Like, you may be a big part of helping them find that light. And that doesn't mean put your life on hold. That's not what I'm saying. But don't be surprised if, as soulmates, that you are helping to heal each other. All right, so what are we looking at? The Hermit, and holy cow, we got a lot of cards. All right, well, hello, Ace of Pentacles. We're going to take these rather quickly. There's that knight that was hidden behind that too. Passion. The World, the next chapter. That means something has come to completion, and now I'm free to be, right? I'm free to move into this next chapter. Even the Ace of Pentacles means something's coming into the physical world, and there's passion attached to it. That makes sense. The World, I mean, literally, think about like the seed you're planting, because the world will represent that next 9 years. But I feel like the world can represent the rest of your life at the same time. This is when your spirituality is really alive. All right, well, let's keep going. Oh. So, come on, King, stop denying it. Look at that. The Ace of Cups, the Ace of Pentacles, the World, the Magician, the Five of Swords, Temperance, divine timing. Temperance's first message is patience. But it's so that whatever is going to happen at the right time. And, temperance is always mixing those loving waters of those two cups. And we have the cups out. Not only the cups, the two cups, we have the Ace of Cups, and so much more. We have two Aces of Cups. And then we have the Four of Cups. Okay. Wow. So that's a lot of cards, but I can tell you it is telling a message. So let's start with the Four of Cups: discontentment, boredom within my emotional life, right? It's like I'm not satisfied, but this person has to make a change. This cup is coming in. There it is in the Four Cups. Well, you can't see in this image, but normally in the Four Cups, you see a cup coming in and it looks like it's coming from the hand of divine. Well, here's Temperance connected right to it. And even that Five of Swords, I don't mind seeing it because we had the Ten of Swords. So I feel like this person, if they're daring enough to look back and understand it more from a spiritual level, right? Because our humanness, yeah, we take swords in the back. We end up loving the wrong people. But, I hate to say the wrong people because everything has taught us something. But I like the difference from the 10 to the 5. So both the king and you carry the magician's energy, which is perfect. Both have the Ace of Cups, and the world signifying, just like the Chariot, that this has the potential to last forever. Ace of Pentacles represents what's coming into your physical world, but it is a seed, and that seed needs nurtured. And that's exactly what the Empress does. She nurtures that seed. And when you nurture that seed, baby, it just grows and blossoms. And how beautiful that the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles are mirroring each other. And what we're looking at is the reversal of the Hermit. So it does feel like they have the ability to find that light, feel the truth, make some difficult changes, but then reap the benefits of you and what you bring to the table. I don't feel like the Empress is sitting here like, oh, I want my Emperor, I want my Emperor, because I feel like you're sitting here in the Nine of Cups and the Nine of Pentacles. What more could I want? Well, I could want love. Well, here it is. But I could want it with a soulmate. Well, here it is. But I want my soulmate to want me. You may have to give him a little time. Hmm. I say give them time, but then I feel like there's no way that this king can deny the passion that they feel. I just feel like fear comes into the picture. That is their kryptonite, is their fear. And it's interesting because as the emperor, this could be someone, the emperor is methodical. The emperor and the empress have their morals are aligned. And I feel like that was an important component. Their morals really are aligned. Who knows? This drinking could go back to this king where, you know, someone could be saying, like, if I'm going to love Scorpio, then I know I have to come to the table in a certain way. And I feel like they're trying. And I love that Temperance is connected to this Ace of Cups. Because truly, that's how I feel Temperance. Like, she's the one who makes sure that both cups of the soulmates are equally filled. That's why she asks for patience, right? Because one cup could be filled before the other cup is filled. But we have both cups and the Two of Cups. I mean, we can't deny what's in front of us. All right, I'm going to pick this up. And to try and think, was there anything else I want to look at? You know, let me just say that I feel very good for you. Like, I feel like those last 9 years, like the bullshit that you've been through, I feel like it's coming to an end. If it hasn't already, for a lot of you. But you do have to let it go at the same time. Being in the Fool's energy is important. And even trusting that you're being guided. Like pay attention to those signs. You have some powerful energy of guidance here. But look what they're guiding you towards: the Nine of Cups, the Nine of Pentacles. And it makes sense that those who want to come in and love the Empress, which is you, and they probably can just feel your energy, right? Have to show up a certain way. All right. I'm just going to go right across the middle and see if there's any other messages that want to come out. And then we'll bring in the clarifying love situations. We already know we have a soulmate. Justice. Interesting. Cutting of ties. Why? Because that's where you find your balance. Again, some reason it's telling me this is not you. Like someone else needs to cut certain ties so that they can find true balance. When justice shows up in a reading, it's about making you whole again. It's interesting with the Emperor and the Empress. They do kind of complete each other. Neither one of them have to have love. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like, well, I guess eventually you would feel like, I feel a little lonely. All right. I think that was it. So let's go ahead and bring out the clarifying love situations. Give him a cut. Here they are. Fool's gamble. Beware the deceit of tricksters, as risky paths can lead to downfalls. Fool's gamble. Beware the deceit of tricksters. Well, that would be in the Five of Wands. As risky paths can lead to downfalls. And then we have shards of love. Past trauma leaves scars. Take time to heal yourself. Well, that is that Ten of Swords. And that is what this person has to do. Because I don't know why I feel with you, like I feel you're in the Fool's energy. I feel like you are ready. Like, come on, universe. All right, I just want to see if anything else wants to come out. And then we'll finish with the romance angels, even though we already have the Two of Cups. Soul's compass. Let intuition guide your steps, illuminating the path meant for you. A soul's compass. Let intuition guide your steps. It's exactly what's going on with Judgment and the Fool. Illuminating the life path meant for you. This is the way you're meant to live. The lessons you have learned along the way and who you are today. Like, I hope that you're proud of yourself. Doesn't mean that everything in my life is hunky-dory. You know, there could be definitely issues here and there, but you are finding this inner harmony within. And that's what's open. It's like affirmations you're putting out to the universe and they're being heard. Well, that's kind of what you're doing in the Eight of Wands, right? What I think about, I bring about. And then trusting that soul's compass. Okay. Let's go ahead and bring out the romance angels. Wedding. This this situation involves marriage. I don't feel anywhere that someone is married. I'm just not feeling that. I'm not saying it's not the case. I don't feel that. So I feel like what this must be talking about is the ability of where the emperor and the empress, well, I want to say where they can go, but their ability, right? Think of, again, the chariot, the unlimited potential between these two. In all areas, by the way. Like when I see the emperor and the empress, I always call them my power couple. I always feel like they could collaborate and create true success for themselves. And, these are both energies that we can really look up to. So, another reason why we don't want to look back and be like, shame on me, shame on me. What have I learned? How have I grown? The Empress is a natural healer. So, sharing your wisdom only helps others. And I have a feeling like, not that you're meant to like stick around and try to get someone to see it your way. I feel like your energy alone may help this emperor. Whoa. Release your ex. The time has come to clear your energy. Well, that could be why we saw justice, passion. Allow your heart and soul to sing with joy. Wow. Worth waiting for. That's what temperance always tells us, right? Trust in divine timing. It'll be worth it. And people are like, well, when is divine timing? You have a lot to say about that, right? When you're in the fool's energy, it's divine timing. Somewhere along this path, Divine timing is at work in your love life. So, in a way, you can just kind of let go of control. And that's another thing Temperance asks you to do. Just let go of the control and allow what wants to flow towards you to flow. I don't feel like releasing your ex. I mean, it can be for some of you, but for some reason, it keeps going back to this king for me. But I feel like, again, the ability here. Listen, if we took love out of this picture, it's still showing so much abundance for you. A love of what you do, even if it's hard work, but also reaping the benefits of that. The wisdom that you've gained, like the 9 of Wands, I call my spirit warrior because they're bold enough to look back. Even understanding your own abilities now. And, like I wouldn't be surprised if people just naturally come to you, and just like spill out their problems because you have that energy. You feel safe. You feel safe. You are safe. You are a safe haven. You are a safe haven. So interesting, we saw justice, right? I didn't feel that like it belonged to you. I feel like it's that king. We see wedding. And even though I feel like this is the potential of what will come, especially when we see the world, the wedding reminds me of the 4 of Wands. And to me, that is just about true love, like true connection. And I say that only because not everybody in the world wants to get married. But it doesn't mean like Sam and I aren't married, but we're committed to each other. You know what I mean? Like we have a lifelong commitment. Not that we will never get married. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. I don't know. I have a feeling he's going to ask me. I just have this feeling. That's the thing when your intuition is strong. But anyway, divine timing is at work in your love life. Baby, I feel like just keep doing what you're doing and just go with the flow. And I feel like everything else will take care of itself. I don't feel like it's you. Yeah, you may be in the hangman energy, but the rest, like that 8 of Swords, I just don't feel like it's you. I just don't. So, what a beautiful reading. Like, this almost feels like it was meant for January. But let's face it, we can start manifesting whenever we're ready. And when you're in the Fool's energy, right? Free and clear. And how fast you're manifesting. It makes sense with the Empress over it. It just makes sense. So, I would say, if nothing else, congratulate yourself on what you've overcome, who you've overcome. And yet, here you are, still such loving and nurturing energy. That is a natural healer. Naturally, the Empress. We now have the mother and the father figure. Okay, I'm going to let that be. I swear I could go on and on within a reading. And I keep saying, like, one day I'm just going to do a marathon reading. But I could go on and on, but I'm going to let that be. I love you guys. I thank you. I'll see you next time in our reading. Bye-bye.